All right, everybody. Our next speaker has irrefutably become one of the most sought-after keynote speakers in the world. How'd she get there? Well, it's actually pretty simple. At 24, she unexpectedly inherited her father's business, a business that he built off the back of having written one of the best-selling business books of all time. At that point, she did what any smart 24-year-old would do. She tried to find somebody else to run the company. After years of that plan not working, she knew the only way forward to preserve her family's legacy was to become the CEO herself. She took it over and ran the company literally by the book. She ran it so well that she doubled the company's sales year over year for 4 consecutive years. She ran it so well that Penguin Random House offered her another book deal to re-release the second edition of her father's book. She wrote that so well that it instantly became one of the best sellers again, and it's gotten her on stages from the biggest tech conferences in America and in Italy and in India, and she's here today to share the 5 things holding you back from doubling your sales. The book we're talking about, of course, is The Ultimate Sales Machine. Each of you have a copy of it in your bag. And the speaker is my friend, Amanda Holmes.
That was fairly epic. Thank you. I need you around everywhere I go.
It's the bird chaser.
And the bird chaser. I am the bird chaser. I'm like, that little shit is not going to be there when I speak. Am I allowed to curse on the stage? I'm not quite sure. Okay, just making sure. Oh, I already messed that one up. Well, I'm so glad that the trivia happened before I went, because I talked to a lot of you that were still hurting from the night before, and it was hard for you to use your brain. I got that feedback. So hopefully the trivia fired it up a little bit, because over this next hour, you could learn one distinction that could literally change the course and trajectory of the sales that you're making today. Literally, just one idea could double your sales between now and next year when you come back here. So please, as if your family's vacations depend on it, listen in, okay? So everything that you're about to learn comes from our strategies that my father originally started. The book that you have has been translated, it says 15 languages, but I was just celebrating the 16th language. It's in now Italian. I was in Lugano, Switzerland, last month, celebrating that release. My father worked for a billionaire by the name of Charlie Munger. How many of you are familiar with Charlie Munger? Okay, co-chairman of Berkshire Hathaway. He doubled the sales of 9 different companies for Charlie, all within 12 to 15 months, and several of them multiple years consecutively. So he realized that he had a system for doubling sales. Then he cold called his way into 60 of the Fortune 500. We've now worked with 85 of the Fortune 500, and he decided that he wanted to help more small to medium-sized businesses. That's why we've been able to assist 250,000 businesses worldwide. And Kurt was so kind to share a little bit of my story. So my father unexpectedly passed 11 years ago. He was 55. And in this new edition, normally I play a video, so this is going to be a little bit interesting to read this to you, but I just wanted to read to you the foreword, which instead of saying, "Dear reader," I wrote a letter to my dad. Ooh, okay, here we go. Dear Dad, it's Amanda, your daughter. It's been 10 years since you passed. 15 since you released this book. You'd be proud to know that companies have voted it amongst the top 10 most recommended marketing and sales books of all time. That's pure word of mouth, Dad. People even call it their red Bible now, because second to the Bible, they read this the most. You know, you left too soon. I was unprepared. The crazy thing is, there was time. We had a year and a half after your diagnosis. I spent easily 100 all-nighters with you at the hospital. We could have talked more about your companies, how they operated, what your dreams for them were. I was 24 years old with dreams of my own, and yet it all came crashing down when you left. Hundreds of staff were now my responsibility, and I was utterly broken at losing you. I know you never would have wanted all of that to fall on my shoulders, but it did, and it was devastating. But I told you when you passed that I'd take care of it, and by some grace of God, I did. I dove into your teachings, read this book, and watched your videos every single day for years. Just like all the others around the world who learned from you, I learned. You really created a system beyond theory, one that's practical and easy to follow. Just like you said, all it takes is pig-headed discipline, and determination. 10 years later, we've done the impossible. Chet Holmes International is a profitable, thriving company. While 60% of second-generation businesses fail, we succeeded, Dad. I don't have to read all of it, but okay. Thank you. I read that because I also talked to a gentleman in the back who said, I'd like to make more money, but I don't want to have to spend more time doing it. And I am a byproduct of somebody that worked really hard and didn't get to truly experience the fruits of his labor. So everything I'm going to show you today is about working smarter with every move you make, because that is my mission, to help it easier for you to scale, working less while making more. Does that sound like you're in the right place? Okay, thank you. So, okay, what we're going to cover, how to get 9 times more clients from the same moves you're already making, the fastest, least expensive way to double sales. We're also going to cover, I have a gentleman over here, Troy Aberley. He's going to talk about how he generated $42 million in 7 months, spending less than $50,000 in marketing. That's an 83,000% ROI. How many of you would like to have investments that produce that kind of ROI? Yeah, I know. I would like that for my portfolio. And all of this is based on a framework that has assisted 250,000 businesses. So if at one point you say, well, man, that this really doesn't fit my business or my industry, I hear that all day, every day. So if you have a question, please ask. Also, me and Troy are here to answer any of your questions to figure out how these concepts can fit to you. So, majority of CEOs are worried about a recession. CEOs, property managers, builders. I'm curious, how many of you in the room are actually worried about a recession? See a show of hands. Okay, that's more than I've been seeing in my keynotes lately. So according to Bank of America, 72% are worried about it. However, 76% are confident that they'll be able to push through. Now, 50% of businesses are actually delaying their plans for growth right now because of interest rates rising, and 49% are taking out loans to handle the cost for higher inflation. And cash flow is becoming limited for property owners, tenants, because interest rates are taking away profits. So, we had a client that was in HVAC that came to us, 10 years ago now, and they sold bathroom fans. And it was my first Fortune 500 client that I brought into our company. And at the time, it was a division that was an 8-figure division. And the gentleman was way ahead of his time. He's saying, I think that the model for manufacturing is changing dramatically. Can you do some research? So if it's okay, I'm going to show this. I find it fascinating that it's about 5 years old, and yet the data is so relevant still to today. So I'm going to share a little bit of what we found when he asked for some data. So technology is upending how companies run their business. It's constantly redefining delivery systems and buyers' expectations. So B2C is really under assault. We've been calling it the retail apocalypse for many years now, right? Brick and mortar are having a hard time because so many people are deciding that they want to buy differently. And it's being redefined because of Death Star Amazon. I did say that in front of a person from Amazon once, and she came up and said, that's not very nice. And she still wanted to work with us, which said a lot to my presentation. So Amazon's revenue since 2005 has grown by 6,017%. Holy cow. That's really shifted the way that we're deciding to buy. And look at the store closures that we're seeing. I mean, Foot Locker lost 110 locations, Best Buy 250, Gap 200, Teavana's completely gone, 279 locations. All of these retail stores are shutting down because people want to buy differently. Wholesale distributors are facing a shakeout. Revenues, it's not that, it's actually revenue growth has slipped from 16% to 3%. Gross margins have eroded 40 basis points. So this is a couple years old, so I don't know exactly what's been in the last 5 years. We found data that said that the middleman is being cut out. 81% of industrial buyers had purchased directly from manufacturers. I'm just telling you the data that we found. 75% of industrial buyers have purchased from e-marketplaces. So we really had to make this decision of how are we going to change and adapt to the change in the sales process and the change in which our buyers want to make those decisions. So we looked at someone like Lowe's. They spent $500 million to get 13 new distribution centers because they're trying to close that gap. Other ones like Samsung, now they were selling directly to builders. This is old news now, it was 5 years ago, but how interesting. Mitsubishi was up and running. They had an HVAC professionals tool to help with sales and customer branding. It's shocking. So once we did the analysis, we came to the realization that a culture of thinking forward and reaching out is critical to the success of moving forward. And it's not about losing the people in the middle of this sales process. It's about empowering every step of the process to be smarter. So it really takes strategic planning and creating demand versus simply fulfilling orders. That's the decision that we made in that particular scenario. And they went from 8 figures to 9 figures. They were the fastest growing division in that Fortune 500 company. And like I said, this started 10 years ago. So over a many-year period, moving a Fortune 500 company is like moving a Titanic. So it was a little bit slow, but still in terms of the Fortune 500, it was a great success. And I'll share you a little bit more of what we did with that company. So how many of you would like to grow your sales by 300%? You really don't look excited about it, except for maybe you two. Q-PAC is like, yes, we're ready. We want to go. Okay. But could you work 3 times more hours? Yeah, thank you. No. The good news is, like I said before, you're not going to have to, because everything I'm about to show you is about working smarter with every move you make, because there are people that are making 3 times more than you, 10 times more than you, and they're not working 3 times, 10 times more hours. They're just smarter with every move they're making, okay? So this is a good quotable quote if you want to write it down or take a picture. Mastery isn't about doing 4,000 different things. It's about doing 12 things 4,000 times. So I'm going to show you 3 ways that you can double your sales in the next 12 months if you just focus with pig-headed discipline and determination. So the first thing holding you back from doubling your sales is the biggest problem we have with getting your prospects' attention. Why can't we get their attention? It's something called the clutter factor. Now, my father used to talk about this 15 years ago. He'd say, your prospects are seeing 40,000 commercial messages a day. Well, yeah, that was before the internet. Okay, now we have 3.8 billion people with a social media profile putting out content all day long. That's why you have 1 million people logging into Facebook every 60 seconds. 18 million texts are sent. 4.5 million video views are watched on YouTube. The saturation of information is mind-boggling. We think about Facebook advertisers, just Facebook alone. We used to have 3 million Facebook advertisers 4 years ago. Now we have 9 million. So what used to be only for the elite companies that could do radio, television, now a one-man shop can put up $1 a day on Facebook ads and start running traffic and actually getting leads and sales. So it's opened up the ability for so many more to market. We have to be hyper-focused on what we're saying and who we're saying it to get in the door. So a strategist will outperform the tactician every time. You could say, okay, if I want to double my sales, I just have to double my cold calls. I just have to pick up that phone and dial. I just have to show up to more locations. Well, that's what a tactician would do. But what a strategist would do is they work smarter with every move they're making. So I'm going to show you some ways to become that strategist. So tactics, what is a tactic? It's an ad, it's a trade show, it's a sales call, it's a brochure, it's a direct mail, it's a social media post, it's an email, right? Just very short tactical steps versus a strategy, which is the long-term goal. What's your overall impact that you're trying to create? Do you want to be considered number 1 in your marketplace? Would you like to create raving fans that refer you business at every turn, right? Do you want to be the one trusted advisor so they come to you for everything and not just one purchase order? So we think about these things whereas majority of marketing and sales today is so transactional. I'm just trying to get that sale. I'm just trying to get that sale, rather than thinking about the bigger picture, especially if you're working with relationships, right? You want to build that relationship, and what is that relationship based on? That you are the trusted advisor, that they can come to you and nobody else. So how do we do that? first exercise of the day. So imagine that you are in a stadium full of your potential prospects. What would be the title of your talk to grab their attention? I'm going to give you just 3 minutes right now. I know you guys are looking at me like we have to do work. Yes, this is your opportunity to. I will also call up maybe 1 or 2 people to share their stadium pitches. What would be the title of your talk to keep people in their seats enough to want to hear what you have to say? So it would be something like, hello, my name is Amanda. I'm here to talk about blank. You guys understand the exercise? I've got not even 1 head shake. Okay, I got 1. All right, that was 3 whole beautiful minutes. Who is going to be the staple of courageousness? I love that you appreciate my... Yes! Give him a round of applause. Come on. That box.
Just for the way
He's so good to me. He's so good to me. Yeah, I think this is your microphone.
Right. Oh, hey, there we go.
Okay, who's in your stadium, Jason?
No, you didn't ask that.
Oh, okay.
You said, if we go to a stadium, how am I going to capture their attention?
Okay, who's in your main stadium? Is it like mechanical engineers?
I would say anybody HVAC related industry, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and so my stadium pitch was, I'm here to help you achieve your goals. Now tell me what they are.
Woo! Give him a round of applause! Any other brave souls? I'm supposed to throw this, which I should not.
Awesome.
Who else? There was somebody else that had raised their hand. Oh, it might hit somebody. I'm a lefty. Come on, guys. You really want me to just throw? Okay, thank you. I can't throw. I can't. Victory. Okay, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Stuart, and I'd like to talk to you about putting money back into your budget. In my career, I've noticed many clients just like you giving more than their fair share to the utility companies.
Give them a round of applause. Okay, lucky 3. One more. Do you want to go? Oh, okay. One more. All right behind you. Brave men right here.
So
That's what men are made of.
first I started writing down how I could help them with what they currently do. And with my last 30 seconds, I realized that's not what I should do. I should help them try to not do their business better, but how to get them additional business. And if I got them additional business, then they would work with me. So there's a program in our town how they're making all buildings more energy efficient. So I thought instead of focusing how you make the team work better or something like that, I would talk about how they can pursue additional business through Washington, D.C. It's called the BEPS plan. They're having to upgrade all the business. So how do I help them grow their business by leveraging the demands of the market?
Woo! Give them a round of applause. That was great. All right, I love that. All right.
Speaking into a box. It's amazing. I'm Tom Weiger.
Oh, one more.
I was going to lead with our mission. Our mission is to improve your life and your work. And I would ask our clients, how can we help improve your life and your work?
All right. Round of applause. I think we're good. You can hand it back over here to lovely people. Okay. So that was wonderful. Now let's continue to improve on this. So at any given time, whether you're cold calling, you're posting on LinkedIn, you're doing direct mail, you're at a trade show speaking, at any given time, 3% of the marketplace is in the buying now category. You make 100 cold calls, 3 are like, oh yeah, I'm buying right now. Another 7% are open to it, they're thinking about it. The next 30% are not thinking about your product. The next 30% think that they're not interested. And the last 30% are definitely not interested. Pop quiz. What percentage of this buyer's pyramid is not interested in what you have to sell? Who said 90? Who said 90? It was great. Yes. You are on it. Gold star. Sometimes I have candy and I throw it at people. You should have gotten 2 by now. Yes, 90% of the people that you're reaching out to. That means if you are just marketing, talking about what you're selling, and you're perpetually talking about you, you're missing out on 90% of the potential marketplace. Only 3% is who you're competing against with all of your competition. So if you just started saying, okay, how do I talk to those that aren't thinking about what I'm selling at this very moment? You can get an extra 40% more if you educate them. What a great stadium pitch would do is it would speak to the entire buyer's pyramid and educate them up into the buying now category. So I'll give you some examples of this. We had a client out of Dubai. They sold real estate, $1 to $20 million second homes. So they were selling to Fortune 500 CEOs. We've got the best luxury apartments. There's beautiful views, granite countertops. This is a second home dream. If we're only marketing to Fortune 500 CEOs, this is a very small amount that would be interested in this, right? So we had to expand the reach. We did some research on billionaires, and we changed their title to why wealthy CEOs are at risk for heart disease, diabetes, and premature death, and what you can do about it. I loved your face, yeah. Yes, it's funny, it's comical. You're like, what? I can tell you that the real estate brokers looked at us like, why are we talking about diabetes? We sell homes. But it was a complete paradigm shift. Every Fortune 500 CEO was interested in what we had to say, and let me show you even more. So what really was interesting for a billionaire? Doctors recommend 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, yet Fortune 500 CEOs only get 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night. Lack of sleep increases their risk of cancer by 200% and premature death by as much as 20%. Stress has been linked to the likelihood of stroke increasing by 50% and the likelihood of heart disease by 25%. How many of you think I have the attention of a Fortune 500 CEO? Heck yeah, I do. Hell yeah. So people who take vacation lower their risk of heart attack by 50%. Huh, how interesting. Vacationers experience an 80% increase in job performance. Tell that one to the boss. More CEOs are choosing to live in a vacation environment. Now, I haven't even told you that I sell second homes that feel like a vacation, but how many of you are starting to think, maybe I need that in my life? Right? Haven't even pitched yet. Being near the ocean reduces your risk of heart attack by 50%. This particular client grew by 3,456% over 12 months. They also went from 8 figures to 9 figures. And we just celebrated last week, she got an award for the top 100 businesswomen in the Middle East. She lives in Dubai. Completely different, right? But that's how we have to cut through the clutter, is to speak directly to what keeps our prospects up at night. Do you even know what keeps your prospect up at night? Because it's probably not fans. I hate to break it to you. I mean, really. So here's a great quote. Write it down, take a picture. Market data is way more motivational than product data. Somebody asked me, how do I sell to mechanical engineers? They love numbers. They probably love data too. How nice would it be to talk to them in their language? So here's another example. If you want to move more air, we're the best fan on the market. Don't overlook IAQ. That was their typical pitch. This bathroom fan company that we worked with. We changed their stadium pitch to the 3 biggest trends driving growth in housing and home improvement and how to capitalize on them for years to come. That was when we were targeting the builders. They didn't know how to go direct to builders, and they were attempting to make that happen. We actually created a couple of these stadium pitches to different segments of their market. Straight to the retailers, for the manufacturer reps. This is just the one straight to builders. So they came to us because they had built a superior fan and they had been resting on their laurels for the last 20 years. And then the competition had started creating similar fans, but they were double the price. So how do you keep that market share? We had to come at it a different way. We had to be more strategic, and we led with an education. Leading with that education helped them differentiate themselves in the market, so much so that they were able to grow exponentially. Like I said, from 8 figures to 9 figures. So then, this was when I was like 26, so I was still very intently determined to prove that I deserved this company and that I should be here. So they had hired 5 sales reps to go direct to builders, and over a year's time, they were supposed to generate 12 sales each. None of them sold 12 vans. If you can imagine this, like, I don't even know what they did. They said that generating leads was literally impossible. So I wrote this email, and I happened to have somebody that owned like 5,000 doors. They were a multifamily investor. And so I wrote them this email: market data on home improvement. Hey, Jack, I hear through David, it was a referral. I hear through David you do a lot of research. My research company just spent $100,000 to get data on the 3 biggest trends driving growth in housing and home improvement and how to capitalize on them for years to come. In 20 minutes, I can show you statistical evidence of the current state of housing in the US, the biggest influence on our housing market today and for the next several decades, the rise of technology and the smart home, the biggest concerns of current homeowners and the potential for home buyers, solving the biggest home issues instead of applying Band-Aids. This will be the best 20 minutes you've spent in a while. What's your availability next week? Now, do you notice, am I talking anything about fans? You had to double check. I got like 4 no's. Everyone else is like, what? What did she say? No, I'm not talking about fans. What am I talking about? What's relevant to him in his day-to-day. Now, I will tell you that he wrote back and he said, okay, Amanda, I will do this meeting, but if in the first 4 minutes you haven't wowed me, I've been in the industry for 30 years, okay? I will hang up on you. I went, oh, okay, that's great, thanks. I was on with that gentleman for an hour and a half, and I generated that lead for the business. And in 2 weeks, I generated 5 leads. They looked at me and said, that is impossible. You don't even know our product. And I went, yeah, but I have an education that knows who they are, what their pain points are, and I led them to the promised land, which is you. So we better close that business. They were shocked. It was an anomaly. So what does that have to say? How can we educate our prospects to get in the door? Right, so they increased sales by 400%. They went from 8 to 9 figures, which was wonderful. So this thing that I'm talking about, I'm going to put a name to it. It's called the core story method. The core story method connects compelling facts with emotions into a story that grabs the attention, resets the buying criteria so that you are the only logical conclusion. Another great one to take a picture of if you want, or write it down. So you want to teach your buyer how to become a better buyer of the product that you sell. Very often they don't know. So you become that expert, and if you can educate them, we've done this in every industry all around the world, many languages, and this is how we do it. So where do you get great data? Some good sources, CNN.com, US Census Bureau is good, articles.com, Google search. We've been watching a lot of AI. It's hard to get data from AI considering that they make up majority of it. It just fabricates the data. So you really have to ask for sources and look at the levels of sources to make sure it's reputable. So we haven't really recommended AI as a place to find your data just yet. Or if you said, hey, I don't want to look for the data, I'd rather you look for the data, I have a company called Empire Research Group that can do that for you. We also train companies how to find that data if you wanted to do it yourself. So what is a core story? A core story improves everything. It trains sales reps in a day. It gets better fodder for your ads. It attracts buyers easier. It closes them more successfully. It builds credibility at every turn. If you feel like the only way that I can grow my business is to find another rep that has relationships in this industry, how do I find that person? This is how you can overcome that, by leading with an education that gets in more doors. Then you build the relationship much faster. So when you think about your stadium pitch, I know some of you said skilled labor is a problem for you, right? What's your stadium pitch to get more skilled labor? What would be that title of your talk to bring in more people into your company? We build stadium pitches to recruit top talent. So if credibility is an important strategic objective, let's think again about that stadium pitch. What is a head-turning title? We sold workout equipment, and we changed their title to Why Humans Are Going Extinct. No laughs on that? Come on, just this one guy. What's your name? Yeah, Tom. Tom's my biggest supporter here. Okay, market data is way more motivational than product data. Remember we said, even if you just have to fabricate a piece of data just to prove to me that you understand the concept, I'd love to hear. Facts about their world are great. What's a way to build that credibility? Okay, so do you think that you can make a stronger stadium pitch? Let me give you a few more tips. Numbers help. The one thing, the three things, the five things, right? I didn't come here and say, I'm about to talk to you about growing your revenue. I said the three things holding you back from doubling your sales. You guys following me? Okay. More yeses. Okay. Who else wanted to go? Someone over here? All right. Yeah.
Did I catch it? All right. One of our vertical markets is education.
Okay.
So I started with sleeping and uncomfortable children don't learn effectively. That leads to reduced education outcomes, which is what you are measured by. Healthy environments promote effective learning. Healthy, comfortable kids learn more, faster, and test better. That improves their success. It improves outcomes, and it elevates your school system's stature and effectiveness.
Do you notice how his conversation is just a completely different conversation than what would normally happen? You understand? Right? He's talking about the outcome of children, which is what's important for an education system. So then all that needed was a very succinct title, like the 3 ways your kids are losing the ability to graduate or something. I don't know which school system you're assisting in. And so when you hear me say that, you're probably thinking, well, Amanda, that's not what I talk about. Well, what we have to do to get in the door is talk about what's relevant to them. So maybe the first thing talks about what's going on with bullying, because it's such a big problem. What's going on with gun violence, it's such a big problem. It's very easy to, well, we can find some data on that. Those are 2 very big points that people have a lot of data on. And then the third thing is probably the silent killer that you probably weren't thinking about. It's indoor air quality, right? Notice I have to talk about other things to get in the door, and then the third being, okay, good. I can tell you from that core story that we did, we found data that said that you are 5 times more likely to develop cancer if you work from home than working in a commercial building. Right, because there's regulations in a commercial building. At home, there's no regulation for what should happen with IQ. Holy cow, do you think I have a different relationship, a conversation after that? There's 4 things you didn't know about that is locking in the deadly toxins into your home and what you can do to protect your family, right? Way different conversation. Okay, anybody else? One more?
Commercial building owners and facility managers are paying an extra $60 billion in energy by continuing to operate outdated HVAC equipment. It's probably one everybody could use.
Okay, I love that data point. It's so good. And then it just needs like I'm going to teach you about the 3 things.
Sure, yeah, that was
right?
the global pain.
Okay, so then what's like the actual title that then backs that up? Because wasn't that compelling market data? Tom's like, heck yeah. That was cool. So we just need a title after that.
Yeah.
Like the 3 biggest mistakes that facility managers are making that's costing them X number of dollars, right? X number of hours. What's putting them out of business? What's causing them to lose their jobs, right? The 3 biggest things you didn't know about as a mechanical engineer that could cost you your job. You think you're going to get that appointment? Some faces are looking at me like, no, but I'm going to shake my head because I'm looking at you. It's hilarious. Okay, great. Okay, round of applause to everybody. That's awesome. The second biggest thing holding you back from doubling your sales. Companies are struggling to stay profitable. Gross margins are dwindling. Only 30% of companies in the United States are profitable. Did you guys know that? It's a little shocking. The vast majority are either break even or losing money. We're so overwhelmed with the shiny objects that we're not focused on what's actually hitting our bottom line. Very often, we're working with clients. How many of you work with clients that you just can't stand? Look how many laughter there was. Or what about clients that lose you business? Like lose you revenue? Do you have any in the red? Yep. Okay. So it's just as important to know who you're focusing on and who you shouldn't be focused on. Who are the people that you should not serve, okay? So the fastest, least expensive way to double sales is a thing called the Dream 100. My father invented it. This is another one you want to write down or take a picture of. There's always a smaller number of better buyers than there are all buyers. That means marketing and selling to them is cheaper than marketing and selling to all buyers. I'm going to break this down for you. This is where we get exponential growth, where we get leverage points, right? If you want to work less and make more, this is where it's at. So I'll give you an example of a Dream 100 I'm in the middle of right now. So I'm very passionate about healthcare. So watching my father die in the healthcare system. So I realized that it's fairly broken and it needs some help. And we don't even have the full infrastructure to support the baby boomer generation that's coming into needing more support. So I'm very big about assisting a new paradigm to grow and develop so that we can support the health of Americans, because we're ranked 26th in the world, which is shocking, and yet we spend 2 to 3 times more than any other country. So I have focused on, we found a conference that had the leading edge, best companies in longevity and biohacking. So I said, okay, great, I want to focus on these. There were 120 sponsors at this event. We focused and narrowed it down to just 80 of the companies that we thought would be great clients for us. Why would they be great? They're aligned with our core values. They're aligned with my mission. They're aligned. They would buy not just once, but multiple times. All of their clientele are usually high net worth individuals, and those are my clients as well. So there's multiple ripple effects of why they are my best clients possible. So we should have, reaching out to 80, due to the buyer's pyramid, we should have only gotten 2.4 interested in what we had to say. But because we led with an education, we got 35 appointments leading up to the trade show, and then after we left, we got 55 appointments. That is 68% to say yes to our appointment. Does anybody have that kind of conversion when you're reaching out? Okay. So we led with our stadium pitch, which was trade show regrets, the 6 biggest mistakes sponsors make that waste their hard-earned investment. You think a sponsor would want to hear that? Not only did they want to hear it, the CEO was saying, hey, can you also send this to my head of marketing? Hey, can you also send this to my head of sales? Hey, we have 3 people that are going to be at this trade show. Can you also give it to them? How would you like your getting in the door to be sent to every possible decision maker, not just the one that's the easiest to get to? So then, because there were only 80, we could circle the dragon. We reached out to them via email. We sent them direct mail. We cold called them. We LinkedIn messaged them. We Facebook friended them. We Instagram DM'd them. We sent them educational video so that when we showed up to that trade show, everyone knew who we were. And in that industry, people didn't know my company. It wasn't a well-known thing. It went from, I've never heard of you, to, oh yeah, I know you guys. And we were welcomed with warm, with loving arms because we were there to serve and help them. So I anticipate, at the moment, I spent about $6,000 to market to these people. I anticipate I'll probably spend about $10,000 before the campaign is done. And I have forecasted that we'll probably make about $1 million spending about $10,000 a market. Pretty nice ROI. So, who is your Dream 100? And this is page 2. Start thinking about it. You can even write down, what are some individual direct clients? Who's somebody that buys more from you more often? Can we reverse engineer this? Who's somebody, if you're selling fans and you have somebody that's refurbishing and they're buying, it's a whole school rather than just one commercial building that only is getting fixed on their fan, that would be a more ideal client, right? Who's somebody that buys more from you more often? Start thinking about who that is and write that person down, whether it's the exact person or it's a type of person, like schools, right? Or government buildings, commercial buildings with that are bigger in square footage. Affiliates. Who is somebody that has hundreds, if not thousands, of your ideal client? So is there an event where you can go to where they're all already there, but you go to that one event and you get lots more? Strategic partners. So we helped a client that sold tents on the back of RVs. They were selling direct to consumer and they were selling direct to businesses that were selling RVs. Then we told them to go after They targeted the OEM. They got one appointment. They showed their education, and they booked $30 million with that one appointment. They said, okay, we can't handle anymore. Stop. It's a good problem to have. So what are your strategic partners? I bet there's even some under this tent right now. Influencers or celebrities in your space, distribution channels, right? Associations, press. Any that you want to add that like Ace Electric used?
Chambers of Commerce.
Chambers of Commerce.
EDAs.
ETAs.
Economic Development.
Oh, Economic Development Alliances. So we have a client right now. It's an electric motor and pump company. They were at about 6 to 7 million, and they're on track to do 13 million now because they reverse engineered to find what are the profitable clients that they have that buy multiple things from them more often, and then reverse engineered to target more of those, and then started educating them on everything that they offer, which majority of clients didn't even know all the things that they offered, and now they're getting more POs than ever before. And what else did you do? Troy worked on this, so.
So the company that Amanda's talking about, their message was just very bleak and similar, just offering products and services.
Once it's broke, this is how you fix it, right?
Yeah.
If it's broken, then you call me.
They focused on the dramatic impact of management actually having nervous breakdowns and not being able to keep up with the workload of work-life balance, and then also employee retention because people were stressed out and having a lot of problems with being able to attract more staff and keeping more staff, and then having a better work atmosphere. And thus, now doing that, more companies are not only asking them to be acquired by this company, but also even staff are starting to leak out from these overstressed companies coming to work for our client.
Pretty cool, right? Thank you. He's going to talk in a minute. Okay, let's just take 60 seconds to think about and write down who are some more of your Dream 100. And if you want a little help with this, pull out your phone. Don't look at your email. Don't look at your text messages. Just go straight to your contacts and start scrolling through. Who is a Dream 100 in your phone, in your contacts? So for those of you that need a little bit of help with this too, I have a 47-point checklist to find your Dream 100. Normally we charge $50 on our website, but because you guys are here at the event, we'll give it to you for free. You just have to text the word GIFT to this number up here. It's also in your workbook. Just a great checklist to help you find who are those bigger, better buyers. Troy, let's bring up Troy. Yeah. So Troy had come to us as a client first, and he was able to generate $42 million in 7 months, spending less than $50,000 on advertising or marketing. So that was here. So can you talk a little bit about so he was selling to farmers, right? Can you talk a little bit about what was happening for farmers at that time?
So I worked at a John Deere dealership in Alberta, Canada, and I was a consultant, really the sales manager for 2 of the locations.
And what was going on with farmers at that time?
We were struggling last year with a real big problem with having drought, financial hardship, staff shortages, obviously the cost of inflation and a high cost of borrowing. So cash flow was very challenged. And then plus environmental factors, a lot of hailstorms, drought. Just not everything was going very well for the producer.
So it was hard. It was a hard economic place for those farmers. Mm-hmm. Now, what was your goal? What did you want to achieve that year?
Our goal originally, prior to that year for planning, was to raise our sales by 20%.
Did you feel like you could accomplish that at that
Definitely
point?
not.
Okay.
We started to find out that there was a lot, just so much pressure going on, and everybody that was quoting, not only in my company, but our competition, was faced with a lot of just simply hard no's to even the lower inquiries for what they were working with.
So your first Dream 100, who did you focus on?
We were focused on the people who had already been given quotes because they were at least in the game and ready to buy, because so many people had seemed like that activity was lower. So we were focusing on people who had already been inquiring for equipment.
How many of you spend on bids, and then if you don't hear back from them, you move on? How many of you have bids just kind of sitting there on the table? Okay, and if you had an education to come back to them, So that's what he did in the first 6 weeks. How much did you generate in the first 6 weeks?
I picked 4 people who had already had quotes that had already said no and went back to them, and then generated from 0, went from hard nose to 4 people to create $8.4 million in sales.
Woo! Love that. And then can you talk a little bit about what your pitch was pre-stadium pitch?
Pre-stadium pitch, I'm sure everybody's here is the same way. You've seen the ads that are always the same as your competition. We were offering lower interest rates, the best service in the world, maybe a free set of golf balls and a ball cap if you bought, a piece of equipment. But
If you bought $1 million, you get a free cap.
yeah,
right?
it wasn't great.
Was the benefit. And then how did you change it? What was your stadium pitch after that?
We came out with a brochure. This one here is the top 5 reasons why your farm could lose revenue. The first one was actually the top 5 reasons why your farm will fail in 2022, because we'd done a lot of research to really figure out what were the biggest contributors to making farms fail in a very specific way.
But he's Canadian, and it was a little too harsh for the Canadians, so we had to go from fail to you could lose revenue, right? Know your market. Know your market.
Exactly.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you. Give him a round of applause. So after having that win, Troy came back to me and said, hey, I'd love to see more of your clients get the result that I got. Can I come and work with the team? And I went, are you freaking kidding me? Absolutely. So now he's our executive strategy officer, and he's here to support. If you have any questions, please ask Troy. Okay. So the last thing, your fortune is being wasted in the follow-up. I love this. Sometime I will have to actually light something on fire on stage just for comedic effect. Okay. So here is some statistics for you. Only 10% of salespeople follow up after 3 contacts, and yet, 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. So do you have 5 to 12 follow-ups as a part of your process that you know how to educate or lead with something intriguing for 5 to 12 touches? Does your entire team have that? Because we're missing out on a ton of sales if not. So I met a dream client at an event. I need a volunteer. Yes, come on over. Yay. So let's say, how many of you meet people at events that could be potential clients? Some? Okay. So we've just met. It's so nice to meet you, Morgan. Well, here, let's do something fun, okay? Smile. Okay, and I will text that to you. Here, hold on. Why don't you just put in your number right here? Yay, give her a round of applause. Thank you, Morgan. Okay, you can step down now. I have literally gotten the cell phone numbers of billionaires, leaders of industry, by doing that little stupid thing that I just showed you that won't cost you a dime, okay? So how does it go? See, this is me with the president of Lincoln, the president of Subaru. He was like, a selfie with me? It was great. And this isn't just for women. I learned it from watching a man do it. His name is Luis Garcia. So he did it to the CEO of UGG Boots, and I just went, that is bloody brilliant. So we titled it The Signature Selfie, and I highly recommend trying it out between today and tomorrow. And you can blame it on me. Amanda told me that I have to do the signature selfie thing. But then after that, you can't tell people because they won't know the context. Okay, so step number 1, let's do something fun. Who's going to say, no, I don't want to do something fun? Then you have to tell them to smile, because I tell you, I take these pictures. I will follow up with somebody 3 years later, 4 years later, and they're like, who is this person? Send my signature selfie picture. Oh, yeah. Oh, we do look fairly happy. And then I'm in and I'm going. Okay? Smile. Then the next step, okay, I'll send it to you. What's your number? And you just have to assume the sale. You are going to get that cell phone number. I have only once been turned down for a cell phone number, and I just came right back and said, okay, email. Okay, fine. So we just assume the sale, we pause, and we wait to hear that number. Then I heard some of you say, okay, how many of you are selling on social? Wow, not one. Okay, I got one person that went like this. None of you are on LinkedIn reaching out to your buyers in any way. Maybe the company is posting there, but you're not. Okay, let me show you something really quickly that you're going to love, because sales reps who sell on social outsell their peers by 78%, and I'll show you exactly why. So I took a picture with this gentleman. He runs a $100 million company, or he did run a $100 million company. I then took a quote that he had. It said, the hardest dollar to get is that first dollar. And I plastered it on our faces to foreshadow that we'd be working together because I had to keep myself entertained. Then I posted it on Instagram. I asked him, so the next step that you have to ask them, because how often do you really go into your cell phone and just scroll through all your contacts? It's not that common. So then we have to ask, okay, where do you spend your time online? Are you more on TikTok? Are you on LinkedIn? Are you on Facebook? So you ask them, and they tell you where they spend their time, and you go, okay. So then you follow each other. Then, for this particular individual, I followed up for 3 months straight, every single day. Everything that he posted, he was very much in the public eye, so he was posting a lot. He posted about how he was buying boots to climb a mountain. And I said, oh, make sure you wear in those boots before you climb, because I climbed Kilimanjaro in new boots, and it ripped my feet to shreds. I got a little heart. Then he posted a video of him and his wife watching Christmas lights. And she looked so happy. I went, oh, my God, I've never seen your wife so happy. You should show her Christmas lights multiple times a year. And I got a ha-ha that time. That was a big deal. I got a ha-ha there. Then finally, about 2 months later, because this started in May, by July, I post about how I'm living in this new home. It's a tree house. It's obviously not my home, but he said, sweet place. I went, oh, he replied to me, and then I said, yeah, I'll invite you to the move-in party, right? I'm just messing with him. But every single day, what am I doing? I'm showing that I'm reliable. I'm showing that I listen. I'm showing that I care. I am showing up for him every single day, so much so that after 3 months, he reaches out to me. I am not pitching. I am just creating a relationship unlike any other. He comes up to me and he says, Amanda, we'd like to buy 650 of your Ultimate Sales Machine and send them to our best clients. Would that be okay? I went, I think that'd be all right. Then a year later, I continued to do this a little bit less intensely because after that one, I backed off a little bit, but I continued to comment and show that I cared and be consistent. Then he came back and said, we'd really like to buy a core story. I went, okay, great. Well, let's hop on a 22-minute call, and I'll just break down for you the details. And he went, if that's a sales call, I don't even need it. Just send me the order form, and I'll just purchase. I'm like, I'm sorry, you don't want the price? No, it's not important. How many of you would like to have prospects where they trust you so wholeheartedly they don't even care about the price? Yeah, thank you. Amen. Amen. Okay. Yes, thank you. So what are we doing? How am I following up without ever feeling salesy or pushy? I am in their face, in their place, in their space. But I'm doing it in a way that's acknowledging them with everything that's already happening in their lives. And 44% of B2B decision makers are millennials today. So you're going to see this a lot more as millennials get more power, right? They're posting. For better or worse, they're posting. So how can you take what you've learned today and implement? 1 hour a week. Can you commit just 1 hour a week to work on whatever you learn from this event, whether it be the Dream 100, whether it be the signature selfie, whether it be your social media listening, whether it be your stadium pitch or your market data? Just putting into your calendar 1 hour a week, you can make quantum leaps just committing that 1 hour a week. So when clients work with us, it's shocking how much we miss the foundational principles, and this is where we're losing money like crazy. So we need to know, what's your goal? What are you actually looking to accomplish? This is the 4-step framework. You'll see it on the last page. It'd be great if you filled that out. What is your goal? Who do you need to reach out to get to that goal the fastest, right? We talk about the Dream 100. Stop working with the people that lose you money. Stop working with the people that are frustratingly crazy. How can you archetype and focus on those that are the better buyers that you truly love and adore? Why not? We can do that. It is possible. What do you need to say to grab their attention? That's that stadium pitch, so you can get in more doors. And then where do you need to say it that generates the highest ROI? Because I can't tell you how many times I talk to people that are marketing in a place where their ideal client isn't even. You gave a great example the other day of a real estate broker that's spending $10,000 a month on buses, but they're selling multi-million-dollar homes. So why would their buyer is not riding the bus, a multi-million-dollar homeowner? No. So why are you spending $100 grand on that? Why not just focus on the best neighborhood of 100 homes, send out a direct mail piece once a month? It'll cut your marketing by a tenth. Right now you're spending $1,000, $2,000 instead of $10,000, and you're hyper focused on who you need. So this 4-part framework is so wonderful. And if you do text in to that gift, on that thank you page, it will say, hey, would you like to book a time? No selling, no obligation. We'll just walk through with you, okay, what's going on with your 4-part framework? Where is there room for growth? And we'll help you give some ideas. Troy will be the one that takes those calls, so you're talking to somebody that really knows his shit. And without further ado, I finally get to, what did we talk about today? The fastest, least expensive way to double sales. That's the Dream 100. How to get 9 times more clients from every move you're making. That's the stadium pitch. And how to get 7 times more prospects without feeling salesy or pushy. That was the signature selfie into the social media strategy. Thank you so much, everybody.